The debt ceiling is rapidly approaching. This is a rather archaic little bit of law that was put in by Republicans back in 1913, 1914, back in the 19-teens, who were opposed to the U.S. going into World War I. And they thought that this would tie the hands of President Wilson, who ultimately got his war anyway, and it's never been held up until 2 years ago. I mean, nobody has ever opposed it. It was raised well over a dozen times during the Reagan administration, during the Bush administrations, over and over and over again. But all of a sudden, Barack Obama comes in and, we can't raise the debt ceiling. And all that raising the debt ceiling does is it authorizes the executive branch to write checks against the Treasury, or to borrow money to write checks against the Treasury, to pay for bills that Congress has already run up. Emily Wismer is with us. She is a policy analyst at the Independent Women's Forum, IWF.org. Emily, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us. I understand that you are of the opinion that the Republicans who control the House of Representatives should not authorize the president to pay for the bills that they ran up with their two wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, Medicare Part D, when you can't negotiate drug prices, and the massive Bush tax cuts. That all that stuff was put on the credit card. The bill has come due. It was all voted in by Republicans, and now these same Republicans, you're saying, should not let the president pay the bill. What part of deadbeat are you missing, or am I missing?
Actually, I'm of the opinion that this is a dangerous fight for the Republicans to take. I think that you are right that the Republicans and Democrats both came together and increased spending by about 45%, and now we do have our bills that are due. There's a lot of political gamesmanship that is happening on both sides of the aisle. The administration has used when the debt limit comes through to push Republicans into broader compromises on taxes, and then Republicans have come up and said that we shouldn't increase the federal debt ceiling at all because. Well,
hang on just a minute. That's simply not true. There has never been a time when the Democrats, when you had a Republican in the White House, when the Democrats asked for anything in exchange for raising the debt ceiling. They simply did it. It was a procedural matter. It's I have the one from 2005, 2006 here that was passed during George Bush's presidency. The entire bill is one sentence. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled that subsection B of Section 3101 of Title 31 U.S. Code is amended by striking out the dollar limitation obtained in such subsection and inserting there in lieu therefore $8,965,000,000 period. Speaker of the House of Representatives. That's it. That's the entire law. And that's right. And that was passed, when George Bush was in office. And that's how they've always been passed. Democrats have never used the debt ceiling as a political weapon. And it seems insane to me that Republicans have done it once with disastrous results, and now they're talking about doing it again.
Treasury Secretary Geithner has used it as a political ploy, actually. And I don't think that
he has no authority over it.
He does, actually. And last year, before we were looking at whether or not to raise the debt ceiling, he said we cannot push it past this other date. And then after reviewing the books, he realized he could actually push it back another 2 months later. And then as the debate started, you saw him playing a very political, active role in the debt ceiling debates and pushing whenever the debt ceiling had to be raised. There are a lot of things that the Treasury Secretary can do in order to pay the debts that need to come due and make sure that Social Security recipients have had.
Well, what he has to do is prioritize what bills get paid and what don't. I mean, it's just like, if you're running a household and your income isn't meeting your expenses and you've maxed out your credit card, you no longer have the ability to borrow, then what do? You say, okay, well, I guess, I really need food and I guess I don't need to pay for the country club membership or whatever. I mean, so first of all, you do away with the non-essentials. Well, Geithner is doing that right now. I mean, we passed the debt ceiling a week and a half ago. So, whatever non-essentials there are or whatever, payables can go 60, 90 days, they're already doing that.
That's right. And I think that even you, Tom, have to admit that it's a little bit odd that Geithner said that we hit the debt ceiling within days of the fiscal cliff. And President Obama, as a member of the Senate, actually voted against an increase in the debt ceiling. Since then, he's come back and said that, well, maybe as a president, we should never, ever vote against increases in the debt ceiling. But regardless of whether or not Republicans oppose raising the debt ceiling, I think the broader thing is it's really sad that we're coming down to defaulting on our threats of defaulting on our debt, government shutdowns.
Well, there's no possibility of any of this if the Republicans would just do what they did for George W. Bush and for Ronald Reagan and for George Herbert Walker Bush.
Or if Democrats came to the table and said that we could actually
what table?
Spending.
What's table? There is no need for a table. All they have to do is take this one sentence piece of legislation and replace this $8,965 billion number with a new number that's a higher debt ceiling. That's all they have to do. It's all they've ever done in history. There's no table.
Regardless of what happens on the debt ceiling, we still haven't cut spending. The deficit that decreased last year was not...
We cut spending at $1.3 trillion last year. The Obama administration agreed to $1.3 trillion worth of spending cuts and got no tax increases in exchange for that. This year, they got about $600 billion in tax increases. It's still about 2 to 1. The Republicans are ahead in terms of cutting spending programs.
Federal spending has not been cut. Increases in federal spending have been cut, but so far the deficit has not substantially been.
Well, if you live in an environment where inflation exists, and we do, and you're looking at 10-year budgets, and you cut the rate of growth of a program, you are cutting into that program. If you're cutting it at anything at or exceeding the rate of inflation, which is what they did last year.
But they're not cutting it beyond the rate of inflation. Right now, spending is growing at huge amounts. It's increased it's been in $1 trillion.
Our government spending right now as a percentage of our GDP is back where it was in 1952 when all these GIs were coming home and we were collapsing our military. It has never been as low as a percentage of GDP. Government spending has never been as low today as it was, if you go back, the first time it was that low was 1952 or maybe 1951, and the Eisenhower administration, and Eisenhower came to office in 52, I guess it was, but whatever, it would have been the end of the Truman administration. But it's just it's not true. We don't have a spending problem. We have a revenue problem, and that revenue problem, as Dwight Eisenhower proved to us, is easily solved by moving people out of the government, taking from the government mode, in other words, being on unemployment and food stamps, and moving them into the giving to the government mode, in other words, getting them a job and making them taxpayers. And I don't get why the Republicans have filibustered all these pieces of legislation that would have created jobs over the last 4 years.
Tom, the average American already pays 50% in taxes. When you add up local taxes, state taxes, and national taxes,
oh, that's nonsense.
American people are already taxed.
That is nonsense.
What they're capable.
The average American has the average American has a paycheck. The median single person income in the United States income is around $25,000 a year. You're not telling me that those people are paying $12,500 a year in taxes? Not a chance.
The average American does pay 50%. Now, low income people pay a lot less than those who make more, but we already have a progressive tax code system. The latest deal increased.
It's progressive for ExxonMobil that pays nothing, and GE that pays nothing.
$170,000 per year, while the poor still had to pay another $1,635 in payroll taxes. All Americans did. And so we've already seen our tax increases. We've already come to the table and said that and given increases in taxes on job creators and on people who really have control over whether people are hired.
You mean consumers? Job creators, consumers, people who create demand in the economy?
Both did. The people that are being called big rich.
Emily, we are out of time. IWF.org. Hang on.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Emily Wismer, IWF.org is the website. Emily, thank you for dropping by today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Good talking with you.